Portugal winning the World Cup in 2026. For some people, that sounds ridiculous. When fans talk about World Cup favorites, they usually mention countries like France, Argentina, Brazil, England, or Spain. Portugal often gets pushed slightly to the side. People see them as talented, dangerous. A team capable of reaching quarterfinals or semifinals, but not necessarily champions. But maybe that's exactly why they are so dangerous. Because some of the most dangerous teams in football history are the ones that arrive quietly. The ones nobody expects. The ones that slowly build momentum while everyone else looks somewhere else. And right now Portugal might be becoming exactly that. They have world-class players, they have young stars, they have experienced leaders, they have depth. And most importantly, they might finally have the balance they've been missing for years. So today we're looking at why Portugal might actually win the 2026 World Cup. Reason number 1: Portugal are no longer dependent on one player. For years, Portugal had a simple identity. Give the ball to Cristiano Ronaldo. Hope Ronaldo creates magic. Trust Ronaldo to save the day. And to be fair, that strategy worked many times. Cristiano Ronaldo is one of the greatest players football has ever seen. He scored impossible goals. He carried Portugal through countless moments. He turned pressure into motivation. He became the face of Portuguese football for almost 2 decades. But there was one problem. When everything depends on one player, opponents know exactly what to stop. Defenders prepare specifically for that player. Managers build entire tactical plans around that player. And if that player struggles, the team struggles. Today's Portugal feels different. Now danger can come from everywhere. A defender can create chances. A midfielder can score. A winger can destroy defenses. Goals can come from multiple players, and that makes Portugal much harder to predict. Modern football isn't about having one superhero. It's about having multiple weapons. And Portugal suddenly have a lot of them. Reason number 2: their midfield could be one of the strongest in international football. World Cups are not won only with strikers. They're won in midfield, because midfield controls everything. Speed, possession, tempo, creativity, pressure, everything starts there. And Portugal's midfield is absolutely loaded. Bruno Fernandes brings creativity. He can see passes that most players don't even imagine. He can turn nothing into something. He can split defenses apart with one pass, and he can score goals himself. Then there is Bernardo Silva, a player many people still don't appreciate enough. Because Bernardo doesn't always dominate headlines, he doesn't always score hat tricks, but he does something equally important. He makes teams function. He keeps the ball moving. He creates spaces. He frustrates opponents. He works harder than almost everyone. And then you add the younger generation. Players with energy, players with hunger, players with absolutely no fear. Young footballers who grew up watching Portugal become a football powerhouse. Young footballers who now believe they belong at the top level, and that's dangerous, because talent mixed with confidence creates something special. Reason number 3: Portugal have incredible squad depth. Depth wins tournaments. Especially World Cups, people focus on starting 11s, but championships are usually decided by the players sitting on the bench, because injuries happen, fatigue happens, suspensions happen, extra time happens, penalty shootouts happen, and teams with weak benches suffer. Imagine playing 7 difficult matches against the best countries on earth. Players get tired, legs become heavy, energy disappears, but Portugal can rotate players and still remain dangerous. Imagine replacing one quality player with another quality player. That's something many nations cannot do. Portugal can, and over a long tournament, that advantage becomes huge. Reason number 4: their attack has pace, power, and unpredictability. Football has changed. Defenders today are stronger, faster, smarter. Breaking down defenses is becoming harder every year, so teams need attackers who create chaos. Portugal have exactly that. Players who can run directly at defenders, players who force mistakes, players who create panic, and panic changes games, because defenders hate uncertainty. They hate players who can beat them 1 versus 1, they hate speed, they hate movement. Portugal have attackers capable of creating all of that, and the scary part is, the attack isn't predictable. The danger can come from the left. From the right, from the middle, from long shots, from counterattacks, from set pieces. Stopping that becomes incredibly difficult. Reason number 5: Portugal have experience. World Cups create pressure unlike anything else. League football is pressure. Champions League football is pressure, but the World Cup is different, because entire countries are watching. Millions of fans, millions of expectations. One mistake can define careers. One missed penalty can follow players forever. Young players sometimes struggle with that pressure, but Portugal have players who understand these moments. Players who have played huge matches, players who have won trophies, players who have experienced success and failure. That experience matters because when things become difficult, experienced players stay calm, and calm players win football matches. Reason number 6, the younger generation is arriving at the perfect time. Every great football nation eventually faces the same question: what happens after the legends leave? Because legends don't play forever. Eventually, a new generation must take over. And replacing icons is never easy, but Portugal might be handling that transition perfectly. The younger players aren't arriving into chaos. They're arriving into an established system. They're arriving beside experienced teammates. They're learning from veterans, and that creates stability. The future is arriving without destroying the present. That's extremely rare. Reason number 7, Portugal could benefit from being underestimated. This sounds strange, but sometimes not being the favorite is actually an advantage because favorites carry pressure, massive pressure. Fans expect perfection. Media expect perfection. Anything less than winning becomes disappointment. Portugal might avoid some of that pressure. People will talk about France. People will talk about Argentina. People will talk about Brazil. People will talk about England. Meanwhile, Portugal can quietly focus on football, and sometimes that's exactly what teams need. Because football history loves surprises. Reason number 8, the new World Cup format might help them. The 2026 tournament is different. More teams, more games, a bigger competition, and bigger tournaments reward teams with depth. Portugal have depth, lots of it. They have options, they have flexibility, they can adjust tactics. They can rotate players, they can adapt to opponents. Long tournaments become battles of survival, and Portugal may have enough quality to survive. Reason number 9, momentum changes everything. World Cups are strange tournaments. Sometimes teams don't begin as favorites. Sometimes they don't even begin well. Then suddenly something happens, a big win, an important goal, a dramatic comeback, and confidence starts growing. Players believe, fans believe. Entire countries believe, and suddenly teams become unstoppable. We've seen it happen before, and Portugal could become that team. Reason number 10, because football doesn't always follow logic. The best team doesn't always win. The biggest stars don't always win. The richest squad doesn't always win. Football is emotional. Football is unpredictable. Football creates stories nobody expects. And maybe Portugal's story is just beginning. Maybe they fall early. Maybe they disappoint everyone. Maybe they struggle. Or maybe this becomes the tournament where everything finally clicks. Maybe this becomes the year Portugal stop being dark horses. Maybe this becomes the year they become champions. Maybe this becomes the moment football history changes forever. Because right now, Portugal don't just look talented, they look dangerous. And dangerous teams are the ones you never want to face. So now I want to ask you something. Will Portugal actually win the 2026 World Cup, or are people overhyping them? Comment your prediction below. And if you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more football content.